Greetings, YouTuber. You have entered the world of electrified network gaming and streaming. And here is your host, all the way from the internet, Sly885.
Sup, YouTube? It's your boy, Sly885. Let's go! Alright, welcome YouTube, this is Sly885 here. Brand new React video today. I've been on a roll this week. Probably I should take a break actually pretty soon because this is actually cutting into my work hours and time spent with wife. Although my work hours normally cut into that anyway, so... Anyways, yeah. This will be a short one. Hence why I used the intro that my friend Bad Wolf made. Let's go. New Jonathan Pie video. Let's hope that you guys enjoy, as I'm sure I will enjoy. What's that noise? It sounds like a bug zapper.
It was an extraordinary performance. The guy's an extraordinary political operator. I mean, he just hung a lot of them out to dry. It's like he walked in there and he just said to himself, just tell the truth. I mean, it was orgasmic. No, I don't like the guy. Of course I don't like the guy. It's just, you know, I watched Dominic Cummings for 7 hours straight. I was tripping my balls off by the time I got to bed. I was dreaming about him.
Oh no, that sounded weird.
I just found him weirdly charismatic, you know. Don't have a go at Dominic Cummings, right? He's done nothing wrong, apart from being the architect of Brexit and getting Boris into number 10 and then getting him a healthy majority and overseeing a massive shift towards right-wing populism in the UK. I mean, I don't like the guy.
Yeah.
Just, you know, I've just seen him in a different light. 2 nights in a row now, he's been, you know, in my... Nothing happens. We don't do anything. I don't want to talk about it, okay? I mean, it's not like he said anything that anyone with half a brain didn't know already. Yeah,
right.
Matt Hancock is a snivelling, incompetent liar. The care homes fiasco was an avoidable national disaster. Boris Johnson is quite singularly unfit for high office. Carrie Simmons is a twat. None of this is exactly news. Boris unfit for PM could be the headline any day of the year. The civil service isn't fit for purpose. It's an old boys club. And there are tens of thousands of people in the UK who would do a better job at running the country. It's just they didn't go to the right private school. Everyone knows this. The majority of people working in Whitehall are shit at their job. The system doesn't work. The idea that competent, qualified, informed people are running the country is a myth. In fact, the country is being run by people who do not possess the necessary skills or talent to run a country. Tens of thousands died needlessly. That's obvious to anyone. But if the recent local elections are anything to go by, no one really gives a shit. They locked down too late. They opened up too early. This is just unrefutably true. Something has gone terribly wrong. We've led the way with vaccinations. We were second in the world in pandemic preparedness, and yet the bodies are piled high, just like the PM wanted. It is plain for all to see. The government fucked it up. They are still fucking it up, and they will continue to fuck it up. For example, their policy on local lockdowns is we aren't going to have any, but when we inevitably do impose them, we're not going to tell anyone about them. I mean, it is off the map.
My gosh, tell people.
The dream, nothing. Me and Dominic are both sat on Carrie Simmons' new sofa, and the maroon floral prints are making like my head spin, and I swoon, and he just... It's not sexual, sensual, erotic, not erotic, sensual.
Okay, it's still weird.
He was very tender.
What the fuck is going on with you?
Well, excuse me. Well, it's been a week of Shakespearean twists and turns, and today was no exception.
Oh, well, I guess they don't call him Dominic Cummings for no reason. Oh my goodness. But, well, that was a blast to see because of that dream he mentioned. It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. But, Yeah. You know, a lot of people who are running the country here in the U.S. don't exactly know what they're doing either. But I think the problem that's more common here in the U.S. Is that some kind of do know what they're doing, but they just don't care enough to do the right thing, and they just keep going by their corporate lobbyists and all that. And that's regardless of whether they're Democrat or Republican. They're both guilty of it. That's why we need a third party, an actual third party that can overcome the stranglehold that the two major parties have put down on this country, because we've stuck with the Democrats and Republicans for 160 years. Democrats longer. They've been around since Andrew Jackson, and that was like, I forget what year, like the 1830s, I think. Republicans have been around since a little before Abraham Lincoln, but the first president that was Republican was Abraham Lincoln in 1860. So we've had these two parties in control of everything for too long. They don't care anymore. There was a time when both of them did. Republicans they led the charge to end slavery. Democrats led the charge for huge social changes like Social Security. And other progressive ideas, although that was FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who's considered a progressive, and even the establishment Democrats were kind of fighting against him. That's why FDR let go of his vice president, I think it was Henry Wallace, who was also progressive, and put in Harry Truman as his vice president, who was actually an establishment Democrat. Even then, the establishment Democrats have been trying to push the progressives away, and it's even worse now, obviously, with what they did to Bernie Sanders in the 2016 and the 2020 Democrat primaries. They seem to work really hard when they're against a progressive who's running in their own party, but they don't try as hard when it's against a Republican. I mean, the fact is, Biden could have easily lost to Trump if Trump wasn't just such an incompetent idiot who screwed up the pandemic so badly and screwed up George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, or what's her name, and it's just screw up after screw up after screw up. It didn't surprise me that Trump had lost, but honestly, if the pandemic had never happened, Trump probably could have beaten Biden. Although maybe not because of how he handled George Floyd. That said, it's actually getting really annoying, all this praise I keep hearing for Biden and Harris when they haven't really done anything that's praiseworthy. We're so entwined in this two-party system that anything that Biden does that's not something that Trump would do, he gets praised. Well, yeah, of course he's not going to do what Trump does. They're not the same person. And Trump literally only cares about himself. He doesn't even care about his own kids. He'd disown them if they weren't being loyal to him. He totally would. But Biden at least cares about his family, and there are people he cares about. The problem is he's not progressive. He's pure establishment and is against progressive changes we need, like Medicare for all. Rumor has it he's trying to push the Green New Deal, but I think he's probably going to compromise with the establishment if that even happens. Anyways, this was a great watch. Jonathan Pye, figure this out, man. That Dominic Cummings dream, that's just weird. Sensual, can still be arousing. I would know from experience, and it was with a chick, not with a dude. But so what if it was, though? If it was with a dude, I guess. But still, like, yeah. And it was long before I met my wife, so that's what matters. It was long before I met my wife when I had this sensual experience with a redhead who was like 4 years younger than me. Doesn't matter. But anyway, and no, my wife's only a year younger than me. She's Hispanic. Anyways, moving on. Great watch. Really enjoyed this. Once again, good job, Jonathan Pye. I liked that the video was short and sweet. I guess I made the react a little longer because I had a lot to say. I always have a lot to say when I watch a Jonathan Pye video. Hopefully, you guys across the pond, things get better over there. I guess I could say things are a little better over here in the U.S., but the problem is we still got the stranglehold of the two-party system, and we need a third party to split them up. And it's getting harder and harder to see that being a possibility. There are people who are trying, but there's just so much power to the Democrats and Republicans, it's hard to overcome. And people always say, oh, I want to make a difference, but they keep voting for the two major parties as opposed to voting for the different third party. If you want to make a difference, stop voting for the establishment. Vote for something new. But they don't. Kind of like how here in the state of California, in 2020 and also in 2018, both of these elections, there was a proposition on the ballot that would have actually helped reduce the cost of living in California. 2018 flat out was going to be a statewide what's it called? Like rent ceiling. Like the cost of rent would never go higher than a particular amount throughout the state. And people voted no because the anti-ads found some little loophole that would take that actually convinced people it was bad because it would get rid of the old system to start the new. So they technically were telling the truth by mentioning it would get rid of the old one, even though they didn't say that. They said it would actually change it for the worse, which was really an opinion and a wrong opinion. And then somehow the 2021 failed too. They both failed by a lot. The 2020 proposition was to allow local governments in each city to put a rent ceiling on how much rent properties can charge. No higher than a certain amount, but that failed too. It sucks, you know. People aren't really paying attention, and that's actually one of the reasons why things just aren't really getting that much better. That said, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, click that bell icon to add me notifications. And also, coming up will be my Sonic movie review. I'm working hard on it. I'm not putting as much time as I need to put into it to make it the best I can, but I'm going to try to make it the best I can. I'd rather have it completed than rush it out. And I want to be as good as I can. Lots of editing, lots of cool clips and all this stuff. And no influence from other reviewers. I didn't watch any other reviewers except one guy who has a different opinion than me. And that's it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned.